Most people think that full bodies are for complete beginners. But the thing is, these people never did an actual full body that works for them. The first mistake people are making is that they think that full body is 3 times per week, the exact same workout. But a full body is just allowing yourself to train every muscle in one more workout. But this doesn't mean that you need to train every muscle in every more workout and do exactly the same 3 times per week. The biggest advantage of a full body is that you can train every muscle or exercise more per week. So you have a higher frequency. Because if you train for strength, so if you do powerlifting, street lifting, or calisthenics, you need to train every exercise 3 times per week. Not two like a bodybuilder, but 3 times per week. So if you do street lifting, you need to do 4 movements: muscle up, pull up, dips, and squats. So if you need to train them 3 times per week, in the 4 movements, you need to do 12 workouts every week, which is impossible. That's why you don't have the choice to do a full body. So now I'm going to explain you how I train 4 times per week while training every exercise on street lifting 3 times per week. So now let me show you how to do a good workout split for a full body. So for a hypertrophy workout split for a bodybuilder, you do just like push-pull legs, maybe push 2 times per week. At least you train every muscle 2 times per week. So you push, pull, legs, and maybe little cardio. And then there's street lifting workout split. In the street lifting, you don't train the muscle, you don't train push or pull, you train the exercise. So I have dips, pull up, muscle up, and squat. And for squat, I only train them 2 times per week because they need less frequency. Because the more an exercise is taxing for your central nervous system, for your CNS, the less you need to train them. So let's say muscle up. The muscle up is a exercise that is very explosive, more technique, so you need to train a lot, at least 3 times per week, maybe 5 times if you want to specialize in that. But for squat, deadlift, you can only train them 2 or once a week. So now the only thing you need to do is to take all these splits, primary dips, secondary dips, tertiary dips, and make them in the day of the week. So what is primary dips? Primary dips is the hardest dip session. So it's the session when you train more the strength, right here. The same for muscle up, pull up, and squat. So you do maybe less rep range, less sets, but it's more the strength. Then you do the secondary session when you train a little more volume. You do maybe on secondary you can do 5x5 or 3x10, and on the primary you do 3x3, 3x6. And then the tertiary session. The tertiary session is a session that don't need to exhaust you, so you do easy session when you learn the techniques. So on the muscle up, you can focus on the transition. On pull up, you can focus the weight control. On the dip, you can make, let's say, pause dips when you do a tempo dips to learn the technique. So the tertiary session should be extremely easy. So for me, I can do a 32 kg muscle up, but on tertiary session, I do 15 kg muscle up, and I just do with a very little swing to just learn the technique. So now we are going to take this and choose in which day to make them. So primary dips, the hard session, maybe you can do them on Saturday because you have more time than on the week when you have school. And then you first choose the primary session. So primary pull-up, you can also choose them the day after dips. So on the pull-up, you also train a little the chest and the triceps. And on the dip, you train a little your biceps, a little, and your abs. So it's better to just do dips before pull-up, because on the dips, it's more important to use your chest than on the pull-up. So if you do pull-up one day before the dips, you will just have a sore chest before, so it's better to do dips. Then after, you can just choose primary muscle up. So I would do muscle up the same day, because it's a little the same exercise. And primary squat, I will do them after the dip. So the muscle up is more explosive and more technique than the pull up. So you always do muscle up before pull up. That you always need to do that. The same for calisthenics. In calisthenics, you do always the muscle up, handstand, push up before the hold. So you do handstand before planche and front lever. So muscle up before pull up because it's more explosive. So now you need to choose the secondary session, but the secondary session is already also hard session. So you need to have the time to recover after the weekend. So let's say you have primary dips, Sunday rest, Monday also rest. You can do primary dips on Tuesday. Now secondary pull-up, you did primary pull-up on Sunday, so one day, 2 days, you can maybe go here pull-up, but I want to do a rest, so I will do on Thursday. And then secondary squats, I think I can make them here or here. It's not important for me, squat. Secondary muscle up, I will do the same day. So always before the pull-up. Very important. Now, what can I do? Just do this. Just a second. Here. Okay. So now the tertiary dip. Here is dip. Here is dips. And squat is on secondary session, and tertiary dips is the easy session. So I would do squats before dips. Even if squats is not something important, I will still do squats before. And then tertiary pull-up, tertiary muscle up. So let's start with muscle up. So if I did pull-up here, I will have only 1 day of rest before my tertiary muscle up, but because it's an easy technique session and active recovery at the same time, I would do tertiary dips and tertiary pull-up. But you should know that pull-up and muscle-up are more explosive exercise than dip. So if you want, you can just do dips, secondary dips after the tertiary muscle-up and pull-up, because muscle-up need explosivity and you won't have a very sore chest after doing tertiary muscle-up and tertiary pull-up. So I do like that. And if you don't need to PR on secondary dips, I think it's okay to do like that. And this is an example of a full body session that you can do, but you can change it in depends of your goal. So if you need to drive for like 30 minutes to go to the gym, maybe you can just do like this to have one more rest day, because the more rest day you have, the more you can recover your CNS. So here, like, you can do MPDS on Sunday, and this can help you learn how to do a competition, because on competition you need to do a PR in these 4 movements the same day. And why full rest day is better for recovery than just a rest day. It's because when you do a full rest day, your CNS recover, maybe your tendons. So let's say you do primary dips, you have sore chest, sore triceps, then you have primary pull-up, you have sore biceps and back, but the CNS damage that you make by doing very hard squat, you're gonna have it on pull-up the day after. Even if you don't train the same muscle on squat and pull-up, the pull-up will be exhausted by squat. So what you can do, you can just also, if you want, you can do like this. You can do dips and squat after, because the squat is very exhausting for your CNS, and because my main movement is pull-up, this is my specialty, my main goal when I can pull 75 kg after 1 year of street lifting. I just don't want to be exhausted by squat, because for me squat make me a lot of pressure in my lower back, in my wrist, and I'm going to feel this on muscle up for the wrist and on pull up for the lower back. So I do better muscle up and pull up before squat. So it's depend of what you want to prioritize. And you can see that almost every exercise is exhausting for the other. So if you do pull up before dips, it's exhausting for your chest. If you do dips before pull up or squat before pull up, it's exhausting for your CNS. The muscle up is all, for me, it's a lot of triceps pressure, and it's a little exhausting if I do muscle up before dips. So because I had some triceps tendinite, and for me it's a problem. So you can see that doing, let's say, push-pull legs is very bad, not because you just train 6 times per week and you lose your time, but also because you can't recover, because every movement is exhausting for the other. But the advantage is that because you have this tertiary session very easy, this won't be exhausting. So you do pull-up that's gonna use your chest, but because it's a tertiary pull-up, it's very easy. Or you do, let's say you do secondary squats after secondary pull-up, but for strength you don't need to go to failure every time. So you are exhausted by doing pull-up and muscle up, but in your squat you can still train like RPE 8 or 9, and RPE 8 on 3x3 it's already exhausting, but it's not to failure. So this is the advantage. But when you do push-pull legs, you need to go like almost to failure in every exercise. So if you want to train like push-pull legs 3 times per week, so you can do like pull and legs the same day. So let's say Saturday you do pull and legs, then you do push and legs, and then you do no legs, I already did, pull and push. So you train 3 times per week, pull and push, pull and push. So Monday, this is maybe Wednesday, and this is Saturday. Let's imagine that you need to go to failure on weighted on pull-ups or on lat pull down if you train for hypertrophy, and then you need to go to failure in legs. You go in failure on every push exercise, and then you need to go to failure on pull-ups. But for strength, if you do 3 times 3 on muscle, let's say you do 3 times 1 muscle up failure, then you can, or near to failure, 3 times 1 on muscle up, it's not really muscle failure, then you do pull up 3 times 3 to failure. Even if you are exhausted by muscle up, you can still go to failure. But here, push up, like for strength, push to failure and then pull to failure, it's hard. But for me, pull is more explosive, so I would do pull before push, always. So this is as easy, and I recommend you to just try yourself at the end of the video. Do the same thing on our paper or on Excel. Try to find a workout split that is work for you, and that is the advantage of a full body, is that if you want to train 3 times per week, 2 or 5, you can change the full body so it works better for you. So I really want you to take action after the video. Don't just be some pleasure. Because this video is some educational video, I want you to learn. And if you have questions like if you ask why do you need tertiary dips or some kind of question, you can ask me in the comments.